Coming up, a West Mineral, Kansas man faces numerous charges in Cherokee County.
Going to finish off the work week starting below the freezing point in some areas, but we got a weekend warm up on the way. The latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And a Cherokee County man faces charges regarding child sex crimes.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the Koam Morning News. It is 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment. But first, let's go to Michael Hayslip.
And let's start with the important part. How about all the clouds working off to the east right now? We're finally going to have clear skies and sunshine on this Friday. Let's talk about what to watch for as we get into the weekend here. Finally, some sunshine and warmer temperatures. That's the other key factor, with Gulf moisture not really arriving until Monday and Tuesday. So with our high winds that we'll have not only for today and tomorrow, tad bit of an elevated fire risk, and Gulf moisture eventually leading to showers and thunderstorms, but those really don't arrive until Wednesday. So we get a break from the weak rain that we had. Now, that being said, we're talking about warmer temperatures, yet this is one of our coolest mornings because of our lack of cloud cover. Still below the freezing mark throughout southeast Kansas, with 29s in Neodesha and Parsons. Joplin and Carthage sitting right at 33. Miami at the freezing mark of 32 to go along with Nevada and Fort Scott. But as we progress through the afternoon, even with some increased cloud cover later this afternoon, that'll kind of come and go, we'll be up into the low 60s right there. We'll actually be able to eclipse those two panels. And Future Track's going to keep all that rain out to the east and the north. Anything that we do see sprint through early in the morning going to equate to a sprinkle. So if you see anything on your windshield when you walk outside in the morning, it's not going to be elongated by any means. And then by the time we get into Saturday, now we're cooking. It's a 7-day forecast going to put us up into the close to 70 there on Sunday. And Tanya, we're still holding on to close to 80 on Monday and Tuesday. And then we kind of sit back and get ready for, number one, those thunderstorms that we talked about with the Gulf moisture on Wednesday. Brings us a little miniature cold front down to the 50s on Thursday, but you'll notice that overnight low stays up into the 40s. So that is the positive aspect of that. Yeah. And gives our chance for our rivers, creeks, and streams to actually get a little break before we begin to fill them back up there at the end of March, beginning of April.
Too bad our lows are going to be still in the 30s, though. But 61 degrees is going to feel really different than
it's going to feel great. Yeah. It is going to feel great.
That's going to be nice.
Well, and the sunshine, just in and of itself.
Yeah. Make you smile. That's what we need, sunshine. All right, thanks, Michael. Cherokee County, Kansas authorities charge a West Mineral man with numerous felonies after a standoff with sheriff's deputies. He is 46-year-old Larry Overman. Officers say they responded to a call for reported domestic disturbance at a home and found Overman armed with a rifle inside, refusing to allow a woman and numerous children to leave. The standoff continued for an hour and a half before the arrest. Charges against Overman include multiple counts of kidnapping, endangering the welfare of a child, and aggravated assault of a law enforcement officer. A Cherokee County, Kansas prosecutor charges a man with child sex crimes. Authorities are holding 30-year-old Richard Sanchez of Cherokee in the Cherokee County Jail without bond. Sanchez is charged with sexual exploitation of a child, aggravated indecent liberties with a child, attempted rape, and aggravated intimidation of a witness or victim, among other charges. On Thursday, Pitt State students checked out available jobs in the area at the school's Spring Career Fair Day. The event was open to all majors and classifications. Businesses promoted opportunities from summer internships to full-time positions. Organizers say it's a great chance for students to network with professionals.
Starting a summer internship potentially, but really starting to make connections and get ready to graduate and start a career.
More than 100 area employers turned up to Pitt State's Overman Student Center for the event. Well, some dental school students will be able to do their residency in Southeast Kansas. The Commission of Dental Accreditation approved the Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas as an educational site for the NYU Langone Dental Medicine postdoctoral residency program. 4 pediatric dental residents are already set to train with the health center's SEK Smiles clinics in Parsons and Pittsburgh. Officials hope the program will reduce wait times and improve patient care. A Knights of Columbus chapter in Webb City is handing out sweet treats for a good cause. Members are distributing Tootsie Rolls and collecting donations as part of an annual drive. Those donations will support programs that help people with intellectual disabilities, with half going to Joplin's Community Support Services.
Knights of Columbus for a long time. They have been a tremendous support for services for persons with developmental disabilities in Missouri. And we're so happy for their support.
The other half of the money raised will go to the Special Olympics. An Oklahoma bill that would ban trans student athletes from competing in women's sports is on its way to Governor Kevin Stitt's desk. The Save Women's Sports Act is a holdover from last session. The House approved an amended version yesterday, which the Senate passed on a 37-7 vote on Thursday. Supporters of the ban argue that trans athletes have an unfair advantage. Opponents say the problem doesn't exist in Oklahoma and that the bill would endanger transgender kids.
It saddens me that we are not considering the group of people that we are in fact marginalizing, telling them over and over again, you do not belong in sports in your school.
No one's saying that you can't compete in sports. All I'm saying is we need to leave female sports to biological females.
This bill is one of the several Republican-led legislature is considering targeting young transgender and gay people. Others would prevent transgender medical treatments for young people, prohibit cities from banning so-called conversion therapy, and prevent colleges and state agencies from mandating gender and sexuality-related training. The Oklahoma Senate narrowly defeats a bill that would allow public funds to be used to pay for a student's private school education. Senators voted 24-22 against the bill, even after the bill was amended to remove funding for homeschooled students and add a family income cap. It still faced fierce bipartisan resistance. It's 5:07.
Still a little chilly right now as our temperature is below the freezing mark, but here as we work into the afternoon, we'll be up around 60-61 degrees, especially down to the south. Remember, north wind's going to kick in. We'll get some 25-mile-an-hour gusts this afternoon. Overnight, we start off clear and the clouds kind of gather, and then they'll clear back out for Saturday. So Saturday will actually end up being mostly sunny after we get past sunrise there. And then what we'll talk about are temperatures that are close to 80 degrees next week.
All right, that's a look at this morning's top stories in weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, the Chiefs sign a wide receiver after recently letting Tyreek Hill go to the Dolphins. Plus, an Oklahoma woman faces murder charges in California after a cold case nearly 29 years is solved. And this morning, we want to know, do you like true crime documentaries? And male birth control is undergoing trial. While it can cause some side effects, it doesn't have experts worried. Stick with us. We'll have more details. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Crowder College softball team in action hosting the Missouri Valley Vikings. Crowder enters the day ranked 17th in the nation, 24-4 overall record. Rough Riders facing the Vikings had a doubleheader at Neosho High School. In game one, Chelsea Bevel sets the tone early, strikes out the side in the top of the first. We're swinging. Second inning, bases loaded for Skylar Randall. Unload those things. She singles through the gap. That's going to score two as Crowder takes a 4-0 lead. Then Lily Mahan, ground ball to the second baseman. Whoop! Flips over the glove. Here come two more Rough Riders to score. And the big inning rolls from there. Cassidy Lear. See ya. Goodwood goodbye. 2-run home run for Lear. Rough Riders put up 10 runs in the second inning alone. Next inning, McDonald County product Rita Santillan. Solo shot for her. Crowder cruises a 12-1 win and does so in 5 innings. In game two, Crowder ends up with the doubleheader sweep, another convincing win. Final score of 17-8 as the Rough Riders improved to 26-4 in the first 30 games of the season. A little high school baseball. Carthage hosting McDonald County yesterday afternoon. Bottom of the first, Carthage on the board as the ball scoots away. Here comes Logan Carmichael, hustling all the way in from third for the first run of the game. In the second inning, McDonald County working in the field. Got runners, caught up. Watch this. Get the tag. Then heads up play by Weston Gordon. The first baseman fires home to catcher Cole Martin. Double play from Mack County to get out of the inning. And then the offense gets going. Gordon pokes it through the right-hand side. RBI single. Here comes Jack Parnell. Mustangs win this thing 5-3, 3-1 early to start the season. One day after trading away Tyreek Hill, Kansas City Chiefs bringing in another speedy wide receiver as they just went out and signed Packers free agent Marquez Valdez-Scantling to a 3-year deal. $36 million. Valdez-Scantling, 5th-round pick for Green Bay back in 2018. Racked up 2,100 yards, 13 touchdowns, 59 career games. Not a bad gig when you go, I did have Aaron Rodgers, and now I got Patrick Mahomes. Pair of local coaches earning CNC Coach of the Year honors. On the boys' side, Galena's Matt Meyer, the league's Coach of the Year, after leading the Bulldogs to a conference championship and their 3rd straight appearance in the state tournament. As for the girls, Colgan's Abby Farabi. Congratulations to Abby as she is the CNC Coach of the Year. Farabi led the Panthers to a historic season. They went 18-0 in the regular season, won the sub-state title, and earned a spot in the state tournament in Manhattan for the 3rd consecutive season.
It's more about the kids and, you know, what they achieve. I'm so happy for them, and they're just, I mean, they were just awesome this year. We won the league. We went undefeated up until the state tournament. You know, we got that Tony DuBray title back. Just a lot of great things. You know, it really stinks how it ended, but just, you know, I really think they put us on the map this year, so we're looking forward to that.
Congratulations to both Coach Farabi and Coach Meyer there. Great people. Big day for Seneca High School senior Aaliyah Grotjohn as Grotjohn signs to stay in Southwest Missouri and continue her basketball career at Cotty College. Grotjohn, no doubt one of the best in the area, averaged 21 points, 7 rebounds per game, leading Seneca to a district title. She's a 3-time first-team All-Big 8 player, Conference Player of the Year in 2021, District Player of the Year this season. Get this, she leaves Seneca as the program's all-time leading scorer, magic number 1,950 points.
I chose Cotty College because I really like the coaches there and the opportunities that they have, like school-wise too, and I think it'll be a good fit for me.
With Coach Mitz over there at Cotty College and Coach Belk, I know they're very smart people. They're going to coach her up, and you know, I think the ceiling, she'll go through it.
And congratulations to Aaliyah, her entire family, and Coach Schulte as well. Still to come on the KOM Morning News, Joplin discusses the city's plans for Memorial Hall and a check on our 7-day forecast. When the KOM Morning News returns.
The name Grasshopper.
5:17 as we roll weather on the 7s. And I promise it was just at 5:17 when we started. It's close enough. 7th and Rangeline over Joplin right now. It's a chilly one outside. 33 degrees is what we have, and that wind's going to play a key factor today because while it works in from the southwest now, eventually those arrows going to come in from the north and do so pretty steadily. 29 still in Parsons and in Neodesha, 34 Monette and Cassville, and 32 north and south in Fort Scott, Miami, and Grove. Reason being that we dipped down so low in some of our coolest temperatures of the week, despite the fact that we're not going to have to worry about any dreary weather today. We lost cloud cover. But with that being said, average high for the entire month of March really hasn't been too bad, sitting at 59 degrees. We just haven't actually been up to that point since we were at Tuesday. But now it's time to lose those trio of 40s that we have and get up back into the 50s, 60s, if not 70s by the time the weekend is over. You do want to grab a coat on your way out the door, though, because we've got wind chills consistently in the mid-20s. I don't really have anything pushing up more than 30. As far as the precipitation goes, we're clear. Everything stays up to the northwest of us, and the cloud cover finally out to the east right now. We still do have one flood warning in effect for the Little Osage in Vernon County. This thing's been extended now all the way until Saturday evening at 6 p.m. As far as our winds are going, we're starting to see just a little bit of a shift. We saw Joplin indicating it was coming in from the southwest, but I bet you that next airport we're reading gets more westerly flow because we're going to see those arrows begin to bend down, come in from the north. And when they do, gusting 25 to 30 miles per hour this afternoon, almost following the jet stream in that same nature as far as their direction goes. Big trough of the jet stream digging down into the southeastern portion of the United States, still keeping all those thunderstorms along the mid-Atlantic, and a little bit of a wintry storm mess up through portions of the Northeast and New England. Our afternoon planner, sunshine early, clouds build a little bit. We'll eclipse that 56 degrees in most places. We'll see about 60, 61. And then as we get into Friday evening, It's going to be one of those where the clouds just kind of come and go. Could be a really cool looking night though as they move across the moon, and then get ready for an excellent looking Saturday. Now anything that you do see on the windshield for early tomorrow morning or whatnot, it's just going to be just a little rain. It will just sprints right through, not going to amount to anything, and our temperatures just gradually warming up with each day on the 7-day forecast. So we're definitely headed in the right direction, to the point where 70s on Sunday, close to 80 there on Monday and Tuesday. Now let's talk middle of next week, because that's when our Gulf moisture begins to grow a little bit. And despite the fact that we've got some really nice temperatures ahead there, Wednesday really going to be the day that we concentrate on some widespread thunderstorms and some cooler weather too, dropping us down to the 50s by the time we get to Thursday. Time now to turn our attention to the KOM News Now Facebook page and our Something to Talk About each morning. A suspect is finally in custody after nearly 29 years after the murder of a California store owner. It's an investigation that brought detectives to Dewey, Oklahoma, where authorities made the arrest on Thursday. Zach Fuentes sat down with the man who has waited decades for this major development.
It was here on April 26, 1993 that Shunming Tang was murdered. Tang was a husband, father, and owner of Devonshire Little Store in San Carlos. Police got a call that day nearly 29 years ago that a man had been shot. Tang had a single gunshot wound and was taken to the hospital, where he later died. Police believe that the murder was a robbery gone wrong. At the time, they knew that an adult female was seen leaving the store, but who she was and who killed Tang was a mystery that gained national attention. Now today, the San Mateo County Sheriff says that mystery has been solved.
Today I can announce that we've made an arrest, and justice for Mr. Tang's family is at hand.
This is the woman they arrested, 61-year-old Raina Hoffman Ramos. An investigation led detectives to Washington County, Oklahoma.
She was a resident of San Mateo at the time of the murder, however, having resided in Oklahoma in recent years.
Tang's family was not at the conference today, but the sheriff's office says they were able to sit down with them and share the news they've been waiting to hear since 1993.
Devonshire Little Store is still in business these nearly 29 years later. Though Shunming Tang's death happened here decades ago, his legacy is still close to and felt by the current owner.
Owner Chung Sun still has newspapers from 1993 that reported on Tang's murder. Sun bought the store from Tang's wife shortly after he was killed. Sun tells me that he's relieved the suspect has been arrested, but it still doesn't change the tragedy that happened.
This gentleman never did the bad thing to any other people.
Right now, San Mateo County sheriffs still aren't saying how they linked Hoffman Ramos to Tang's death or if she gave specifics as to what happened in the store that day in 1993. And her son is still hoping to find out.
So what happened 30 years ago in these days?
That crime successfully being solved. Our question for you this morning is, are you into true crime documentaries? A couple ways to connect with us each and every morning. You can go directly to the poll, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. You can also connect to us via our Facebook page, or if you've got your phone handy, all you have to do is snap a picture of our QR code, and that will deliver you to our Insta poll as well. We'll catch up with some of your results later in the show. Health Watch is next.
Topping Health Watch this morning, researchers plan to start human trials later this year for the first male birth control pill. Scientists from the University of Minnesota say they've developed an oral contraceptive that does not contain hormones and does not cause harmful side effects. They presented their findings this week at a meeting of the American Chemical Society. Laura Podesta has more.
Some men embrace the role of fatherhood, but for those who are not ready, their main choices are condoms, a vasectomy, or relying on women to manage contraception. Soon, they could have a new option.
We are very optimistic and very hopeful.
Scientists at the University of Minnesota developed a pill for men that blocks a vitamin A producing gene needed for conception. After a 4-week test on mice, researchers say the pill dramatically reduced sperm counts and was 99% effective in preventing pregnancy without harmful side effects.
We target non-hormonal pathways so that we wouldn't have those hormonal side effects.
The mice could be fathers again 4 to 6 weeks after they stopped receiving the compound.
As a urologist, I'm excited because this is something different. This is something non-hormonal.
Medical experts caution while the findings are encouraging, they're also preliminary.
We have to wait. It may take years before we actually see this as an option for men.
For people we spoke to here in Times Square, a birth control pill for men is an idea whose time has come.
Overall, more safety during sex, for both partners, that'd be beneficial, especially for me, so I would take it.
I probably would try it out, While I'm still young, at least. And then when I get older, I just let it rip.
If the FDA gives the okay, clinical trials for humans could begin within 6 months. Laura Podesta, CBS News, New York.
Other possible male birth control pills currently undergoing clinical trials target testosterone, which could come with side effects, including weight gain and depression, as well as adversely affect cholesterol levels. Well, a new study found taking aspirin during the first day of hospitalization with COVID-19 may reduce the risk of in-hospital death and pulmonary embolism. The results were strongest for patients over 60 and those with at least one comorbidity. The study looked at data from more than 112,000 COVID patients hospitalized with moderate symptoms from January of 2020 to September of 2021. Patients given aspirin on their first day in the hospital were nearly 14% less likely to die in the hospital. Patients who took aspirin were nearly 30% less likely to suffer a pulmonary embolism. Researchers said while effective vaccines are available in wealthy nations, COVID-19 continues to cause more than 65,000 deaths a week worldwide. They say this highlights the need for accessible, inexpensive therapies for the unvaccinated. More e-cigarette products got the green light to remain on store shelves. The Food and Drug Administration authorized several tobacco-flavored products from Logic Technology Development on Thursday. Under the pre-market tobacco product application, companies have to submit applications to keep their vaping products in the market. In documents to the FDA, Logic said its e-cigarette products can reduce a smoker's risk of exposing themselves to potentially harmful toxins when compared to traditional cigarettes. According to the FDA, the benefit for adult smokers outweighs the risk that young people could start using them. Agency acknowledged the authorization does not mean that the products are safe, nor does it mean they are, quote, FDA approved. It noted that all tobacco products are harmful and potentially addictive. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Still chilly right now as we get ready for finally some sunshine on a Friday. We just need a little warm up and we'll break down our timeline when we come back right after this.
Coming up, a West Mineral, Kansas man faces numerous charges in Cherokee County, Kansas.
Still a little bit chilly here to start our Friday, but we've got warmer weather on the way just in time for the weekend. The latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And Cherokee County charges a man with child sex crimes.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 5:32. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment. First, let's go to Michael Hayslip in the Skywatch Weather Center.
Waiting on a little bump up after sunrise is here, just about 19 minutes past the 7 o'clock hour, because we still sit at 33 degrees right now in Joplin. Have seen the cloud cover and any of the remaining rain. Now a thing of the past as we head toward the weekend. So the sun will quickly take effect and going to lift us up into the 40s, say about by 10. Be pushing 50s by the noon hour, top out in the low 60s. In the meantime, though, I'd definitely take a jacket because we still have several places, especially throughout southeast Kansas, that are below the freezing mark. We're pretty much just a couple degrees above it in southwest Missouri, and now we've actually slipped in northeast Oklahoma. Welch, Miami, and Grove now down to 30 degrees. Our day planner going to give us mostly sunny skies. You will notice that north wind kicking up to 15 to 20 miles per hour, gusting probably 25 to 30 miles per hour. But we're going to stay on the clear side, not only for Friday, but into Saturday. Anything that you do see pop up right here, going to be just some light sprinkles that just move through, just got just enough to drop a little bit, but it certainly doesn't stick around. And then we're headed for a great 7-day forecast for late March, talking about 60s and 70s, close to 80s there on Monday and Tuesday. Next shot for some actual elongated thunderstorm activity. That doesn't kick in until the Gulf moisture arrives on Wednesday.
Yeah, well, that will definitely be a welcome sight getting those warmer temperatures.
Yeah, we've rolled 40s
starting
3 consecutive days. It's time to change that.
I'm still waiting for you to bump that Monday and now Tuesday up to 80.
I actually brought it down a degree.
I know, I saw that.
Yeah.
You promised me. Maybe Monday you'll change.
Maybe Monday, okay.
Got the weekend to work on that. All right, thanks, Michael. Cherokee County, Kansas authorities charge a West Mineral man with numerous felonies after a standoff with sheriff's deputies. He is 46-year-old Larry Overman. Officers say they responded to a call for a reported domestic disturbance at a home and found Overman armed with a rifle inside, refusing to allow a woman and numerous children to leave. The standoff continued for an hour and a half before the arrest. Charges against Overman include multiple counts of kidnapping, endangering the welfare of a child, and aggravated assault of a law enforcement officer. Cherokee County, Kansas prosecutor charges a man with child sex crimes. Authorities are holding 30-year-old Richard Sanchez of Cherokee in the Cherokee County Jail without bond. Sanchez is charged with sexual exploitation of a child, aggravated indecent liberties with a child, attempted rape, and aggravated intimidation of a witness or victim, among other charges. In less than 2 weeks, Joplin voters will decide the fate of a $30 million proposal to renovate Memorial Hall. At a news conference, some Joplin city leaders outlined exactly what the bond would fund and how much it would cost taxpayers. KOAM's Jalen Banks has more.
2 years ago, the city of Joplin issued drawings of what they hoped one day would be Memorial Hall. These drawings were of renovations and expansion for the Joplin staple. For almost 100 years, it has stood as a key figure in the community. But in 2022, it faces a new challenge, getting a $30 million bond passed on April 5th for renovations, so that it can stand tall for the next century. Supporters believe that keeping the hall up and running honors those who served our country and continue to.
When they opened it in 1925, there was over 2,000 veterans that attended that opening of Memorial Hall, everywhere from Civil War, Spanish American, and World War I veterans. So it's very important to us as a way to honor our past and the veterans that still serve today.
They say these renovations will not only pay homage to those who have served, but will benefit the community in other ways. And those who want it to pass believe that losing it could be detrimental.
Not having the Memorial Hall is a loss for us because of meeting space, conventions, sports venue, gathering place for the community. We are constantly getting requests for space to have organizational meetings here or business meetings, and all we do is about 80 people.
The bond will be paid for through residents' property taxes, and if approved, it would add about $65 per $100,000 of assessed valuation. At Memorial Hall in Joplin, Jalen Banks, KOAM News.
Renovations would allow Memorial Hall to hold up to 2,800 people and 1,700 parking spots. Here's Michael with a look at your forecast.
7-day forecast with sunny skies today and finally a little warmth on the horizon, coming off of 3 consecutive days where the 40s have been good enough for us. Well, that changes today, and also too we get a chance to dry out a little bit. That being said, I do want to remind everybody that we still do have a flood warning for the Little Osage River in Vernon County, lasting all the way until Saturday at 6. Big factor for today is not only the increased temperatures, but also to be wary of that north wind when it kicks in, because we'll get some 25 to 30 mile an hour gusts.
This morning we are discussing cold cases. A suspect was finally arrested in a cold case after almost 3 decades. Shan Ming Tang was murdered in cold blood in a store called Devonshire Little Store. This was in California. The police believe at the time it was a robbery gone wrong, and now at the time they knew an adult female had been seen leaving the store, but her identity was unknown. They were recently led to a woman in Oklahoma who'd been living in the San Mateo area during the time of the murder, and they arrested that woman there in Dewey, Oklahoma on Thursday. Mystery has been solved. The man who was murdered can finally get justice, which is something his family wants. And this brings us to our something to talk about. Are you into true crime documentaries?
Right now, an overwhelming 80% say yes. It is their thing to listen to or watch when it comes to either documentaries or podcasts right there. You can take part each and every morning, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote, or connect to us via our Facebook page.
You know, that's not surprising that we see the most Facebook hits and stuff people are interested in. It's those It's those crime stories and those cold cases really get a lot of public interest.
Amazing the amount of cold cases that we've seen solved here in the past 3-4 years alone, with the advance of people doing genealogical checks on themselves, matching to somebody else.
Well, that and turning these cold cases into unsolved cold cases into documentaries and showing them on air, like that just drives more interest and helps actually probably solve them too.
Yep.
Yeah,
you're right.
All right, thanks, Michael. That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News, the Oscars. Well, they're coming up this weekend. We're going to give you a sneak peek inside the magic. Plus, North Korea tests a banned missile, causing just a little bit of concern. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping World Watch, the White House is condemning the launch of what's thought to be North Korea's largest ever intercontinental ballistic missile, potentially capable of reaching the U.S. CBS's Tina Kraus reports from London.
The world had braced for North Korea's Kim Jong-un to unleash a monster missile like this one, which he paraded through Pyongyang 2 years ago. And South Korean leaders say he did just that, test firing what's believed to be the North's biggest intercontinental ballistic missile, which could have the power to reach the U.S. Thursday's missile flew farther, longer, and higher than the last long-range test in 2017, landing in the Sea of Japan. South Korea's military responded with live-fire drills.
The letter that we're signing is very comprehensive.
Back in 2018, ahead of his first meeting with then-President Trump, Kim Jong-un suspended long-range testing. CBS News consultant Bob Carlin isn't surprised it's starting up again.
They're not going to come out and say, oh, we're going to give you notice that we're going to break the moratorium. They're just going to do it, which is what they've done.
While North Korea tested shorter-range missiles in recent months, the U.S. sees a long-range weapons test as a red line.
North Korea is a very small country, and they feel very threatened. We may say we're not threatening them, but that's not how it looks from their standpoint.
The White House called the launch a brazen violation of several UN Security Council resolutions, but said the door has not closed on diplomacy if the North backs down. Tina Kraus, CBS News.
Today's launch marks North Korea's 11th test this year and marks a major step in the North's development of weapons. Ukrainian armed forces say they destroyed a large Russian landing ship at the port of Berdyansk in southern Ukraine on Thursday. The port, which had been recently occupied by Russian forces with several warships in dock, was rocked by a series of heavy explosions soon after dawn. Social media videos showed fires raging at the dockside with a series of secondary explosions reverberating across the city. Armed forces of Ukraine say they had destroyed a large landing ship, which they named as the Orks in a post on Facebook. Several Russian ships had been unloading military equipment at Bryansk in recent days, according to reports from the port by Russian media outlets. Ukrainian armed forces say besides destroying the Orsk, 2 more ships were damaged. The Australian government placed sanctions on Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko for his support of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The new set of sanctions also target 22 Russian propagandists and disinformation operatives, including senior editors from the Russia Today, the Strategic Culture Foundation, Inforos, and Newsfront. Others include Lukashenko's son, Viktor, who previously held senior national security roles in the government, and his wife. According to an Australian government statement, the sanctions are to ensure that Russia and those who support its illegal, unprovoked invasion of its democratic neighbor pay a high cost. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back with the news you need to know before you head out the door. Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Cherokee County, Kansas authorities charge a West Mineral man with numerous felonies after a standoff with sheriff's deputies. Officers say they responded to a call for a reported domestic disturbance at a home and found 46-year-old Larry Overman armed with a rifle inside, refusing to allow a woman and numerous children to leave. The standoff continued for an hour and a half before the arrest. Charges against Overman include multiple counts of kidnapping, endangering the welfare of a child, and aggravated assault of a law enforcement officer. Prosecutors charge a man with child sex crimes. Authorities are holding 30-year-old Richard Sanchez of Cherokee in the Cherokee County Jail without bond. Sanchez is charged with sexual exploitation of a child, aggravated indecent liberties with a child, attempted rape, and aggravated intimidation of a witness or victim, among other charges. Some dental school students will be able to do their residency in Southeast Kansas. The Commission of Dental Accreditation approved the Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas as an educational site for the NYU Langone Dental Medicine postdoctoral residency program. 4 pediatric dental residents are already set to train with the health center's SEK Smiles Clinic in Parsons and Pittsburgh. Officials hope the program will reduce wait times and improve patient care. On Thursday, Pitt State students checked out available jobs in the area at the school's Spring Career Day. The event was open to all majors and classifications. Businesses promoted opportunities from summer internships to full-time positions. Organizers say it's a great chance for students to network with professionals. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Still a little bit chilly out there. Our temperatures right now as low as 29 degrees out throughout southeastern Kansas and Neodesha and in Parsons. Everybody else pretty much from about 30 to 33. Stockton, kind of an anomaly out there in the far northwest, sitting at 36. So it's jacket weather, but look at this. Sunny skies for a Friday, even with the north wind, will make it up around 60 degrees. You'll notice later this afternoon the clouds kind of come and go. But no need to worry about any rain running through. We're going to be on the dry side. Anything that you do see on Saturday going to equivocate to a little sprinkle down there on the eastern edge of southwest Missouri. And then as we push toward warmer temps, especially on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, look at that, 70, if not 80. Now, middle of the week, that's where it gets a little bit more interesting, because on Monday and Tuesday, as we warm up, the wind shifts on us, comes in from the south, and brings us a good deal of Gulf moisture. And then as it gathers, that's going to result in, number one, some thunderstorm activity for Wednesday into Thursday morning. Also cools us off a little bit, so we're down to the mid-50s there for Thursday of next week. Still not a bad end of March and beginning of April, considering the just kind of dreary weather that we had this week. We'll be back with more KOM Morning News right after this.
Final preparations are underway for the 94th Academy Awards, and this year the show is expected to return to Hollywood's glamorous normalcy. Danya Bacchus has a preview from Los Angeles.
The red carpet is rolled out and ready for the return of the glitz and glamour of Hollywood's biggest night.
This year's Oscars feels somewhat like a return to form for the Academy. Gone are some of the pandemic restrictions that cause us to have, more of a virtual show.
After years of having no host, this year's Academy Awards will have 3: Regina Hall, Wanda Sykes, and Amy Schumer.
So how am I preparing to host the Oscars? A lot of people are asking me. And I would say it's mostly been with drinking. Just a lot of drinking.
The theme of the night, Movie Lovers Unite. Producer Will Packer says the idea is to show the Oscars aren't just about Hollywood.
We are incorporating people from a variety of different industries and showing their love for movies, because it's the thing that unites us.
All eyes will be on the big categories like Best Picture, Actor, and Actress, which Angelique Jackson of Variety says are still toss-ups.
It's actually going to be really exciting because while earlier on this year you may have had a sense of who you thought was going to win, it's starting to feel like maybe no one is really so sure, so it could be a real fight to the finish.
This year, 2 new categories, the fan favorite and most cheer-worthy moment, which were voted on by Twitter users, are also creating a lot of buzz.
It's an attempt to make people feel more involved in the Oscars process. It's a way to target the younger viewership.
Big names in music will be taking the stage. Beyonce, Billie Eilish, Sebastian Yatra, and Reba McEntire are set to perform their Oscar-nominated songs. Danya Bacchus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Well, the Oscars aren't without controversy this year. Some awards will be presented before the live show and edited in later, which was met with pushback. We'll be right back with a look at your forecast.
Still go on, grab that jacket when you head out the door. Our temperatures have not budged as of yet. Sunrise officially over Joplin at 7:14, and the nice thing about today, we will actually see sunshine. In a while since we've been able to say that. Wind chills, yeah, that's a little bit cool for late March right there. Anything from 25 to 28 degrees is what it feels like. But the Skywatch Storm Tracker remains clear even when we throw the cloud coverage on there, staying out to our east. Now you see right above Nevada, a little slice of green. That is because the little Osage still has that flood warning on it, now extended all the way until 6 o'clock tonight. Other factor for today going to be the wind. Look at that swirl that we've got going on. Now eventually pushes in from the north and it's going to gust up to 25 miles per hour. That keeps us from warming up too much, but still we'll take the 60s. Coming off of all the days we've had lately in the 40s. And then 60 again on Saturday, close to 70 on Sunday. And look at Monday and Tuesday. Getting ready to get to the end of March there and throw up temperatures close to 80. We'll be back right after this.
Coming up, a West Mineral man faces multiple felonies following a standoff with sheriff's deputies.
About time we get a little sunshine back up to our average temperatures for the end of March because we've got some warmer weather on the way with the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And Cherokee County holds a man without bail for multiple child sex crimes.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment. But first, we've got warmer temperatures headed our way.
Oh, thank goodness. It's about time we got close to that average here for the latter third of March. Should be around 63 degrees, and we're going to be very, very close to it. Chilly start, though. 7th in range line. Only 33 degrees in that wind chill in Joplin, dropping all the way down to 27. But here's all we have to do. Get through this morning, and great news on the way because finally some sunshine and warmer temperatures into the weekend. Also, too, the Gulf moisture, it'll work in on Monday and Tuesday, but Monday and Tuesday still going to be close to 80 degrees before some thunderstorms arrive for Wednesday afternoon into the night. Like I said, that being keep that in the back of your head because we're still going to need a jacket when we walk outside this morning, ranging anywhere from about 26 to 33 degrees. We got the rain sitting off to the northwest. It stays up there. It'll skirt right over us. All the cloud cover now cleared off, but of course the loss of cloud cover also too, why we got so chilly overnight. But even as the cloud cover reemerges, still high 50s, still up to 60 every now and then for our Friday. Staying on the dry side, sunrise over Joplin officially will be at 7:14. It's a future track. It's really void of any massive cloud cover. Don't really, any precip that we see just kind of sprints through. Watch us on Saturday, but right there, bottom right-hand corner. Count to probably several raindrops before it is said and done. And then look at this, 70 on Sunday, close to 80 on both Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah.
Then we'll get ready for those aforementioned thunderstorms there as they arrive. But that's not until Wednesday.
Sounds good. I'm looking forward to a nice warm up this
Looking
weekend,
forward to
starting
some sun,
with today.
Just some sunshine.
Yeah, we can worry about the rain next week,
Yeah.
but let's have a great weekend. All right, thanks, Michael. Cherokee County, Kansas authorities charge a West Mineral man with multiple felonies following a standoff with sheriff's deputies. He is 46-year-old Larry Overman. Officers say they responded to a call for reported domestic disturbance at a home and found Overman armed with a rifle inside, refusing to allow a woman and numerous children to leave. The standoff continued for an hour and a half before the arrest. Charges against Overman include multiple counts of kidnapping, endangering the welfare of a child, and aggravated assault of a law enforcement officer. Cherokee County, Kansas prosecutor charges a man with child sex crimes. Authorities are holding 30-year-old Richard Sanchez of Cherokee in the Cherokee County Jail without bond. Sanchez is charged with sexual exploitation of a child, aggravated indecent liberties with a child, attempted rape, and aggravated intimidation of a witness or victim, among other charges. Voters will soon get a chance to approve more firefighters. Another local fire protection district is asking voters to approve a ballot question that would increase staffing, but would also raise taxes. The proposition would help the Jasper Fire Protection District pay 3 daytime firefighters. Currently, they rely on volunteers. which they are struggling to keep. If approved, it would add 30 cents per $100 of assessed valuation to property taxes. Some dental students will be able to sink their teeth into a learning opportunity right here in Southeast Kansas. Commission of Dental Accreditation approved the Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas as an educational site for the NYU Langone Dental Medicine postdoctoral residency program. 4 pediatric dental residents are already set to train with the health center's SEK Smiles clinics in Parsons and Pittsburgh. Officials hope the program will reduce wait times and improve patient care. Well, it looks like the metaverse will soon be coming to Missouri. Meta, the parent company of Facebook, will bring an $800 million data center to Kansas City. 1 million square foot hyperscale facility will be in the massive Golden Plains Technology Park in northern KC. It's expected to create 100 permanent jobs and more than 1,300 jobs at peak construction. Company hopes to open the data center by 2024. Giving to a good cause is definitely a sweet proposition. Members of the Webb City chapter of the Knights of Columbus rolled out their annual Tootsie Roll drive by collecting donations and handing out Tootsie Rolls. Those donations will support programs that help people with intellectual disabilities, with half going to Joplin's Community Support Services.
Skip the Biden.
The other half of the money raised will go to the Special Olympics. President Biden is in Brussels for a second day to meet with European leaders before heading to Poland. This comes as the war in Ukraine enters its second month. The U.S. and its European allies continue to discuss ways to shut down funding to the Moscow war effort. President Biden says unity is essential to defeating Vladimir Putin. He also announced the U.S. would admit 100,000 Ukrainian refugees. Yesterday, the West rolled out a fresh round of economic sanctions targeting companies and individuals tied to the Kremlin. In a video released this morning, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said every day his country holds out against Russia, bringing it a day closer to achieving peace. We'll have more on the war in Ukraine in our next half hour. On this date, back in 1986, Guns N' Roses signed a worldwide deal with Geffen Records for $250,000. At the time of the deal, many speculated the record label wouldn't even recoup its initial advance payment of $37,000 to the highly unstable rock group. Guitarist Slash recounts in his memoir that the band blew the advance money almost immediately. Of course, no one can imagine that less than 3 years later, Guns N' Roses would prove to be the biggest rock band in the world. Since then, the band's 1987 debut album, Appetite for Destruction, has gone on to sell more than 28 million copies. All total, the band has sold more than 100 million albums worldwide. Yep, that album definitely got its payback.
So if they signed, what did you say, $250,000, and people thought they were going to recoup their costs? There are two people that knew that they were going to recoup their costs. One of them goes by the name of David, and his record label is named after him, because the dude doesn't sign you unless you're going to make him money. The other one goes by the name of Vicki Hamilton, who wouldn't have been around GNR if she didn't know that they were going to make her some money on the backside either. That's a call of steel right there for Geffen.
Yeah. How many people nowadays have tattoos with Guns N' Roses now, too? They've left their mark permanently.
That is true. That is very true. Temperatures right now still chilly outside. 27 is what we've seen Neodesha and Parsons drop down to. 33 in both Joplin and in Carthage. Eventually give us that Friday sunshine and we're going to be up there close to, if not just a little bit above, 60 degrees. So a great end to our work week. And then the temperatures keep on rising for Saturday and Sunday. Not only are we looking at close to 70 by the end of the weekend, but how about close to 80 to begin next week?
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, Jacqueline Boucher from Pitt State is in studio. Tell us why silence promotes violence. Plus, the January 6th committee digs deeper into text messages between the former White House chief of staff and a conservative activist. An aspirin could prove to be a lifesaver against COVID-19. We're going to give you the details. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping Nation Watch this morning, the House committee investigating the January 6th insurrection is looking at text messages between the former White House chief of staff and a conservative activist. Source familiar with the messages says they are between Mark Meadows and Virginia Ginny Thomas, the wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. They reportedly took place between early November 2020 and mid-January of 2021. Now, Thomas had attended the pro-Trump rally that preceded the Capitol attack on January 6th, 2021, but she said she played no role in planning the events of that day. Some legal experts say Ginny Thomas's activism could pose a potential conflict of interest for Justice Thomas, though she says she distances her activity from her husband. Meadows had turned over thousands of text messages before he stopped cooperating with the committee. A Republican congressman from Nebraska has been found guilty of 3 felony counts. Representative Jeff Fortenberry was charged last October for concealing information and making false statements to federal authorities. It was related to an investigation into illegal contributions during his 2016 re-election campaign. According to the indictment, fundraiser co-host told Fortenberry that $30,000 in donations had probably come from a foreign national. Campaigns are not allowed to take contributions from foreign nationals, but Fortenberry did not notify election officials about the donation until he was questioned about it by the FBI in 2019. It's not clear when Fortenberry will be sentenced. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi attended a roundtable event about domestic violence in San Francisco on Thursday. She was joined by survivors, experts, and advocates. It comes on the heels of President Biden signing into law reauthorization of the Violence Against Women Act. Biden had helped write the original piece of legislation in 1994, which aimed to protect and support survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, and stalking. It requires renewal every 5 years, but lapsed several years ago because of partisan disagreement. That's a look at today's top national stories. We'll be back with an interview with a Pitt State student who's going to tell us about how silence is promoting violence.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Special guest in our studio on this Friday morning, Jacqueline Boucher. Jacqueline is a graduate teaching assistant at Pittsburgh State University. Jacqueline, number one, I want to thank you so much for your time this morning, and thank you for coming in, because coming up tomorrow, you've got a very important seminar and, I should say, demonstration. And it is called Violence Promotes Silence. Talk a little bit about how you got started with this and how you were able to put this together.
So, as you mentioned, I'm a graduate student at Pittsburgh State. For my graduate degree, I decided that writing a dissertation or taking a big comprehensive exam was not the route I wanted to take. So I looked into the creative project. My advisor told me event planning might be something that I would be interested in. And when I started to think about that, I wanted to do an event, but I wanted it to be something that would be beneficial to the community, something that we need here in Pittsburgh and the surrounding communities. So I started to think, well, domestic violence, I mean, you guys just had a story on it.
Probably have one every day, to be honest with you. Yeah.
So it's something that's continuously happening, but no one seems to talk about it, especially my age group. And according to the Kansas Coalition Against Domestic Violence, ages 18 to 24 are the most at risk.
So therein falls your silence part of it.
Right.
Forgive me, because you and I are split a little bit age-wise.
Right.
Why is it something that your generation, why do you believe that your generation does not talk about an existing problem that we see on the forefront and we see on our TV screens?
Right. I don't even necessarily think it's just my generation. I think our parents didn't talk about it. You know, we kind of grew up where you don't air your dirty laundry, right, to other families around town. So everything was kept inside, and we've learned that, and it's an uncomfortable topic. People don't like to talk about things that might make people uncomfortable, might make people uneasy. And so
what Jacqueline is attempting to do here is kind of bring that to the forefront, make us get out of our comfort zones. And we're going to do this tomorrow at 10 a.m. at the Overman Student Center on the Pittsburgh State University campus. It is called Silence Promotes Violence. Now, I want to come back and ask you some specific questions about this, but run me through the particulars first So people know when to show up, and I understand free and open to the public.
Yes, no tickets required. So we'll have some speakers first from various professions, from victim advocacy to law enforcement. We'll also have our student organization on campus do a presentation for everyone. And then we will have the presentation from the dojo.
And I want to ask about, PSU has a student organization, Students for Violence Prevention.
Yes.
Have you been working close with them as far as putting on, and essentially I'm going to call this your presentation,
right,
for the sake of your organization and doing this. Have you been working with that group to promote the importance of education?
Yes. So their whole thing is to make Pittsburgh State campus, their aim is to make it to where violence is unacceptable, survivors are listened to, and perpetrators are held accountable. So whenever I first decided to do this event, they were the first people I went to.
Okay.
And they've been helping. I don't know necessarily or have the training for a lot of the things, how to work with victims and stuff, but those students do. So they're helping me, whether it be with the language or just with, these are the most important topics. These are kind of the warning signs. These are things that we need to educate the group about.
Well, speaking of that, now I want to go back to your panelists. And once again, this is open and free to the public. Jacqueline putting this on, called Silence Promotes Violence. 10 a.m. Overman Student Center at PSU, open and free to everybody. Your panelists that you tracked down and convinced to help out and deliver their message, was it difficult for you to find them? Were they excited about the opportunity? What was kind of your interaction with them in putting together the panel?
Yes, they were very excited. I had a little difficulty at first picking people or finding out who would be around, and especially with just how things have changed since the start of pandemic. It's kind of difficult to get people to want to go into big groups, right?
Good point.
So, but whenever I reached out to Allie and Sergeant Detective Romine, they were 100% hands-on, ready to do it, and excited for the chance.
And I want to cap it off by saying you've got a very interesting program here, a simulation of self-defense that's provided by Dr. James Otter. How did you decide to incorporate that into tomorrow's discussion/activity?
Right. Well, so the event itself is from 10 to 1, so that's a long time for people to just be sitting there and listening to what I mentioned, a difficult topic.
I'm sure your people are so interesting that it's not going to seem long. It's not
right. No, it won't, but just being able to get up and move around, and hopefully they don't have to use these moves in their daily lives, but if that were the case, maybe it might save a life one day.
And so there you go, folks. Jacqueline doing everything in her power to not only bring this to the forefront and have us address this as a society, but also hoping you leave with some self-defense skills as well. Jacqueline Boucher, I want to thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Give us the lowdown once again. Tomorrow, location and time?
Tomorrow at 10 a.m. at the Overman Student Center on Pittsburgh State's campus in Ballroom C.
And also, too, folks, I want to reiterate what Jacqueline said, because I did not know this coming off the top of this interview. I did not know that you had put this presentation together essentially as your thesis. That is absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
So best of luck to you, and thank you for bringing it to us.
Oh, thank you guys for having me.
Jacqueline Boucher, she's a graduate teaching assistant, and she's about to walk out with another degree from Pittsburgh State University.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll be back, and you can find all this information as well on KOAMNewsNow.com, and we'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, Pfizer voluntarily recalled 3 blood pressure medications this week due to a concern over an organic compound that's found in them, which could pose a cancer risk over time. So if you're on the medications, what do you do now? Mandy Gaither talks to a cardiologist to find out.
3 medications to treat high blood pressure being voluntarily recalled by Pfizer due to a concern over the amount of an organic compound called nitrosamines found in certain lots of the medicine.
This is not the first time medications have been taken off the market because of this type of chemical reaction.
According to the FDA, nitrosamines are commonly found in low levels in meats, vegetables, dairy, and water. But being exposed to excessive levels may increase the risk of cancer over long periods of time. While Pfizer says it isn't aware of any reports of adverse effects from the use of the medication, the company has voluntarily recalled Accuredic tablets as well as 2 authorized generics distributed by Greenstone. If you're on these medications, the first thing to do is call your pharmacist, says Dr. Lakshmi Mehta, a cardiologist at The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center.
See if you have received the batch or lot that has been recalled.
If you have that recalled lot, talk to your doctor about alternative medications you can take. But Mehta says do not stop taking the medicine until you get a replacement.
Because untreated high blood pressure has its own ramifications, including heart attacks, strokes, and heart failure.
While you shouldn't delay a call to your pharmacy, Mehta says this isn't cause for immediate concern.
You don't want to wait forever, but you also don't want to panic.
You can also find out the specific lots affected by the recall by visiting Pfizer.com. Just click on the news section of the website. That's a look at one of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Temperatures up into the 60s for today and tomorrow. Nice thing is get a little sunshine. I've been sun-starved here lately. And look at that for Sunday all the way through Monday, 70 and 80s. Be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
Coming up, a West Mineral man faces multiple felonies following a standoff with sheriff's deputies.
Finally moved that cloud cover and rain out of here. We'll get some sunshine, warmer weather on the way to the weekend. The latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And Cherokee County holds a man without bail for multiple child sex crimes.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 6:29. I'm Tanya Buck. We'll get to those stories in just a moment. But first, let's go to Michael Hayslip. And we are getting some warmth back in the 4 states.
About time. As soon as 7:14 gets here and we can break the sunrise over Joplin, we'll be headed that way as all the cloud covers moved off to the east. Now, it's still chilly out there. 27 in Neodesha and Parsons. Those haven't budged. Whole bunch of 32s ranging south of I-44 in southwest Missouri and northeast Oklahoma. Joplin, Carthage, Lamar, Pittsburgh. Throw Nevada in there. Everybody at 33. So like I said, 7:14, that's when we begin our warm up in earnest. And we're still able to make it up into the high 50s, if not low 60s, even with a good north wind. Now, when I say good north wind, gusting 25, 30 miles per hour for this afternoon hours. But look at this. Let's roll 60s again on Saturday, 70s on Sunday, and then talk about the 80s headed our way for Monday and Tuesday.
All right. Looking forward to that. 61 today. That'll be a big change from
every
other day this week.
Don't have to worry about those thunderstorms coming back till middle of next week.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Michael. Cherokee County, Kansas authorities charge a West Mineral man with multiple felonies following a standoff with sheriff's deputies. He's 46-year-old Larry Overman. Officers say they responded to a call for a reported domestic disturbance at a home and found Overman armed with a rifle inside, refusing to allow a woman and numerous children to leave. Standoff continued for an hour and a half before the arrest. Charges against Overman include multiple counts of kidnapping, endangering the welfare of a child, and aggravated assault of a law enforcement officer. Prosecutors charge a man with child sex crimes. Authorities are holding 30-year-old Richard Sanchez of Cherokee in the Cherokee County Jail without bond. Sanchez is charged with sexual exploitation of a child, aggravated indecent liberties with a child, attempted rape, and aggravated intimidation of a witness or victim, among other charges. Voters will soon get a chance to approve more firefighters. Another local fire protection district is asking voters to approve a ballot question that would increase their staffing but would raise taxes. The proposition would help the Jasper Fire Protection District pay 3 daytime firefighters. Currently, they rely on volunteers, which they are struggling to keep. If approved, it would add 30 cents per $100 of assessed valuation to property taxes. Well, some dental students will be able to sink their teeth into a learning opportunity right here in Southeast Kansas. Commission of Dental Accreditation approved the Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas as an educational site for the NYU Langone Dental Medicine Postdoctoral Residency Program. 4 pediatric dental residents are already set to train with the health center's SEK Smiles clinics in Parsons and Pittsburgh. Officials hope the program will reduce wait times and improve patient care. And an Oklahoma-based company with a location in Joplin is donating $500,000 to help people affected by the war in Ukraine. The money from Jasco products will be distributed between Samaritan's Purse and the Convoy of Hope. Jasco products makes lighting fixtures, lighting controls, consumer electronics, power protection, and charging products. Well, President Biden is in Brussels for a second day of meetings with European leaders before he heads to Poland. The U.S. and its allies say they remain committed to standing up against Russia and to helping Ukraine and its people. Bradley Blackburn has the latest developments.
The fighting in Ukraine has entered a second month, and without any ending in sight, the U.S. and its European allies continue to look for ways to cut off funding to Russia's war machine. President Biden is in Europe holding a series of emergency summits with other leaders. The president says unity is the key to defeating Russian leader Vladimir Putin.
The single most important thing that we have to do in the West is be united.
Yesterday in Brussels, the West rolled out another round of sanctions against companies and individuals tied to the Kremlin.
Putin is getting exactly the opposite what he intended to have as a consequence of going into Ukraine.
Mr. Biden also announced new humanitarian aid for Ukraine and said the U.S. would admit 100,000 refugees who fled the violence. In a video released this morning, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky thanked the international community for its support over the past month. Zelensky said that every day his country holds out against Russia brings it a day closer to achieving peace. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
When President Biden travels to Poland later today, he will visit refugees at a camp just 100 miles from the Ukraine border. He's also slated to meet with Polish leaders. On this day, back in 1963, Johnny Cash scores his biggest chart-topping hit, Ring of Fire, written by June Carter and Merle Kilgore. June Carter wrote the lyrics about her relationship with Johnny Cash. She felt being around Cash was like being in a ring of fire. Cash was involved in drugs and had a very volatile lifestyle. The song was originally recorded by June's sister, Anita Carter. Cash claimed he had a dream where he heard the song accompanied by Mexican trumpets. It stayed at #1 on the country chart for 7 weeks and was certified gold January 21st, 2010. CMT ranked Ring of Fire #4 on their list of 100 greatest songs of country music. And there's so many country musicians that play Ring of Fire today, like a lot of Johnny Cash songs.
Oh, as soon as I saw that we were talking about that, I immediately harkened back to our birthday list last week when we had June Carter on there.
I know, yeah.
Still got to know the story about her name. Temperatures right now, it is chilly. You're going to want a coat, that is for sure, because we even have wind chills that are lower than those actual temperatures that you're seeing right now. But sunny skies will eventually lift us into the high 50s and 60s for our Friday. We're long overdue for some sunshine, and that is what we will have today. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
In Consumer Watch this morning, stocks rebounded Thursday as global oil prices eased despite new sanctions against Russia. As world leaders look to pressure Vladimir Putin to end his invasion of Ukraine. The Dow gained 349 points, NASDAQ rose 269, and the S&P 500 was up 63. State and local leaders are taking action to limit the impact of rising fuel costs. Yesterday, Connecticut became the third state to suspend its gasoline tax. Maryland and Georgia had already approved similar measures. California is considering a plan to give drivers $400 per car gas rebate. And New York City cabbies are joining forces with their longtime rivals at Uber. On Thursday, the ride-sharing company announced a deal that would allow users to summon a yellow taxi through its app. The meter in the cab will not determine the ride's price, however. That'll be handled by Uber. The new arrangement is expected to be in place by summer. That's it for Consumer Watch. Let's go over to Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Tanya. This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page in our morning Insta poll, we're discussing cold cases as a suspect finally arrested in a cold case after nearly 3 decades. Sheng Ming Tang was murdered in cold blood. Now, he was murdered at a store in California. Police believed at the time it was a robbery gone wrong. At the time, they knew an adult female had been seen leaving the store, but did not know her identity. Well, they recently made an arrest linked to the murder in Dewey, Oklahoma. That's right. And now that mystery evidently has been solved. Our question for you this morning: are you into true crime documentaries? 75% of you say, yep, that is your cup of tea. Probably whether it be on the TV or one of the podcasts that you may listen to. You can take part each and every morning. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote or connect to us via our Facebook page. We're going to come back, celebrate birthdays and anniversaries. But first, a trip to the Big Apple to check in with Gail.
Hello to you, I'm Gail King. Coming right up on CBS Mornings, Lee Cowan goes training with the U.S. team in the new Sail GP Racing League. That winds up its season this weekend in San Francisco. That's coming right up on CBS Mornings.
We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Charles Clyburn. Staff Sergeant Clyburn served in the Army from 1941 to 1945 in the Philippines. During his service here in the Army, Good Conduct Medal, the American Defense Medal, and the American Campaign Medal, along with several other medals. His hometown, Galena, Kansas. We thank you, today's four-state hero, Charles Clyburn.
Let's run out to Nevada and start the birthday list off with Grantham Bishop, sharp-dressed young man right there, celebrating his 8th birthday. Grantham, a happy birthday to you, my man.
And we got London Huffman from Carl Junction celebrating birthday number 8 as well.
Into the 9-year-old category, Kelly Wilson sporting a little Lamar Tiger pride right there. Kelly, have a great birthday.
All right, Cade Hutto turning 9. We had 2 8s and we got 2 9s this morning. Cade is in Columbus. What a wonderful picture there.
On to double digits, Trevor Whitley. He's now 10 years old. And I love the fact that we're about to get back out on the ball field. Trevor celebrating his birthday in Chanute.
All right. Olivia Marconette, little belated birthday wish going out to Olivia, celebrating yesterday in Humboldt. But you know what? You get to celebrate all weekend long because you're 12 this year.
Rihanna Hickman, now 14 years old. And she's got a little Seneca Indian pride right there. Great volleyball picture. Happy birthday, Rihanna.
And let's see, we got Labette County's Easton Dean, who's now 21 years old. He's got a birthday coming up on Sunday. You notice colors there. He plays football at Iowa State.
Big one for his Cyclones tonight, as a matter of fact.
Oh.
I bet she's locked into that right here on KOAM. Boom, synergy. That's how I roll. Heather York, celebrating her 29th birthday. What a great family photo right there. Heather is in Crestline. That is the sister-in-law of our own graphic artist, Will York. Heather, a very happy birthday from all of us here.
I love the baby's reaction in that picture. That's classic. Happy birthday, Heather. Hope you have a great weekend. And happy birthday wishes going out to Danielle Crockett. Danielle is 32 this year, celebrating in Lamar with love from Mom and Grandpa.
Jared Newman. That's a great family photo too. Look at the Newmans right there. And Jared celebrating his 39th, and I guarantee those 2 ones in the middle there certainly keep him and his wife busy. And Jared, a happy birthday in Riverton.
Oh, yeah, what a great picture there. And Mr. Charles Bishop, celebrating birthday number 40 this year.
I like that shirt.
Your students are actually giving you a shout out. He's an art teacher at Chanute High School. This birthday wish comes from your kids.
That's a cool shirt. I like that. Bob Davis. Wow. That's a good one right there. That is a good one. Nice job, Bob. Bob's celebrating 44, and I'm sorry, it's habitual for you KU fans and you Royals fans. When you see the name, what do you want to do? You immediately want to go, Bob Davis. And a very happy birthday to Bob. Bob, if you get any more of those great pictures like that, please send them in. That is wonderful. He's in Columbus.
All right. Carl Lewis, that would be him on the left. Turning the big 5-0 this year in Parsons with love from Angie, Natalie, Nicholas, and Layton.
One of these days I'm going to line up Bob Davis, the announcer, and Carl Lewis, the track star. And on this day, March 25th of next year, I'm going to shock our own Bob Davis and Carl Lewis.
How
You're
cool
like,
would
you
that
mean
be?
these dudes?
Right?
Tess Watson, she is turning 53. Beautiful picture right there. Tess is celebrating in Weir.
In Chanute, it's double sixes this year for Miss Sandy Smoot. That's her picture there on the right. Happy birthday, Sandy.
That's a big one, you know. I don't know where that's from, this big one.
Yeah.
Juanita Alloway also celebrating a 66th birthday. Juanita, happy birthday in Parsons.
Let's see, Thomas Cloak, turning 72 years old this year. Nice picture there of Thomas in Chanute.
And Judy Garner, a happy 79th birthday. Judy is in Pittsburgh. And Judy, I want you to know, birthday wishes coming with love from the whole family.
All right. Betty Lou Cook, celebrating birthday number 95. Looks like she got her cake. Betty Lou is in Webb City.
That's a heck of a cake, Betty Lou.
Yeah.
My
Beautiful.
goodness. Beautiful cake. Jennifer Coberly, a very happy birthday in Columbus. What is that? Grace Wins. I like that.
Nice shirt. Yeah.
Jennifer, have a great birthday morning and afternoon. Ed and Jamie Layson, they are celebrating their 18th anniversary. And the Laysons, congratulations to you as they celebrate in Chanute.
All right, Jeff and Tessa Clark are celebrating their 28th anniversary, celebrating in Columbus. And Michael, that's where the party's at.
It is. Stay in the bus because Jay and Debbie Evans, they are having their 44th anniversary. It almost looks like Debbie's photobombing Jay right there. I love that picture. Congratulations to the Evans in Columbus.
It is a good picture. And let's see, we've got a 22nd anniversary in Carl Junction. Little throwback wedding picture there, love it. Chris and Cheryl Hansen, extended members of the KOM family, our news assistant Gabe Hansen's parents. All right, happy anniversary to the Hansens.
Cody Santana is one of our fine directors at the station. And Cody, a very happy birthday to you.
And we have our marketing consultant, Kelsey Wilson. That's a great picture there of Kelsey celebrating a birthday this weekend as well.
Got two to pass along down in War Dog Country as Myron Babb is turning 67. Happy birthday to Myron. And Rusty Brown, not too far behind it, 62. A happy birthday to Rusty. Both Myron and Rusty are in Miami. And one more anniversary I want to make sure that we get on. That's for Stan and Connie Klingen as they're celebrating a magical 33rd anniversary in Parsons. And Stan and Connie, number one, congratulations. Number two, anniversary wishes coming with love from Mom. A happy birthday and happy anniversary to all on this March the 25th. That's where you can send them into, birthdays at koamtv.com. Also, if you choose the email route, birthdays at koamnewsnow.com. Now, here's Tanya Bach with a very important birthday announcement.
That's right. You can be a part of the KOM Birthday Club. All you have to do is go to our website and sign up. And once you do, you'll get special deals from local businesses. Go to koamnewsnow.com and sign up for the KOM Birthday Club today.
Coming up here in a little bit when we transition to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It was built in 1925. It's Joplin's Memorial Hall and has served the community for almost a century. Now, about 2 weeks from now, voters are going to decide the fate of a $30 million proposal to renovate it. We sent our own Jalen Banks to take a closer look at plans for the hall and the cost to taxpayers. So join us for that special look when the KOAM Morning News transitions over to Fox 14, coming up at 7 o'clock. In the meantime, let's jump to the Skywatch Storm Tracker as we find ourselves with a clear morning. How nice is this? As a matter of fact, it's been a while since we checked out our tower cams. There we are outside of 7th and Rangeline. Now, we've got a major project going in the back that we're keeping tabs on. That's why that shifted off. But what I did do is move our tower cam over 7th and Rangeline to the north-northeast, providing us with a gorgeous Friday morning start. And eventually, we're going to have temperatures that are going to make it up into the low 60s later on today. Far cry from what we've had past couple of days, whether it was cloud cover, whether it was rain, whether it just didn't want to leave us alone. We get a great end of the work week and really a wonderful beginning to the weekend. We're not going to have any thunderstorm activity until we get to the middle of next week. And before we get there, how about temperatures that are going to incrementally grow? We'll go 60s for today and tomorrow. We'll go, let's throw up 70s for Saturday, or Sunday. Let's throw up close to 80s for Monday and Tuesday. Then we'll delve into those thunderstorms for next week. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Cherokee County, Kansas authorities charge a West Mineral, Kansas man with numerous felonies after a standoff with sheriff's deputies. His 46-year-old Larry Overman. Officers say they responded to a call for a reported domestic disturbance at a home and found Overman armed with a rifle inside, refusing to allow a woman and numerous children to leave. Standoff continued for an hour and a half before the arrest. Charges against Overman include multiple counts of kidnapping, endangering the welfare of a child, and aggravated assault of a law enforcement officer. Prosecutors charge a man with child sex crimes. Authorities are holding 30-year-old Richard Sanchez of Cherokee in the Cherokee County Jail without bond. Sanchez is charged with sexual exploitation of a child, aggravated indecent liberties with a child, attempted rape, and aggravated intimidation of a witness or victim, among other charges. Some dental school students will be able to do their residency in Southeast Kansas. The Commission of Dental Accreditation approved the Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas as an educational site for the NYU Langone Dental Medicine postdoctoral residency program. 4 pediatric dental residents are already set to train with the health center's SCK Smiles clinics in Parsons and Pittsburgh. Officials hope the program will reduce wait times and improve patient care. On Thursday, Pitt State students checked out available jobs in the area at the school's Spring Career Day. The event was open to all majors and classifications. Businesses promoted opportunities from summer internships to full-time positions. Organizers say it's a great chance for students to network with professionals. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
It's all work-related, and Zuckerberg just hates me. But he says it's a weekly fight.
Well, maybe things will get better once they open their new data center in Kansas City.
I honestly, if anybody out there knows
Why Mark hates you?
Yeah, if you could find out, number one, why he hates me, I would.
Well,
I'm cool with it.
He doesn't ban you on a daily basis, does he?
No, he just locks me out, and then he's like, I'm going to lock you out for a week until you get 18-factor authentication. And I'm like, 18 factors? Yeah. I think
I don't do that deep of math.
No, he's like, I'm going to mail you a key to a locker at LAX, and there's a duffel bag in there with a flip phone. Call that number. Mm-hmm. I'm like, that's how I get back into my Facebook account.
Sometimes.
Sunny skies, temperatures up into the 60s today, so thank goodness we don't have to worry about trying to post any severe weather on anything. Great looking weekend as well. We're going to roll 60s on Saturday, 70s on Sunday, and all the way up to the 80s on Monday and Tuesday.
All right, well, coming up today at noon, we are making award-winning popcorn in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Morning news continues on KOAM. That's the CBS Morning News coming up next. The heartbreaking story of a Ukrainian man left to care for an 18-month-old child of his pregnant daughter who was killed in a Russian airstrike.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. And this morning, we've got a Pitt State student in-house here to tell us more about her thesis project and how upcoming Silence Promotes Violence event
Wraps it up for this weekend, or this week.